heart of Chicago. Thank you for being with us tonight and for being part of such a historic evening. The 20th anniversary of Ensemble Español. Vámonos a un viaje imaginario por España. Muchas gracias y que lo disfruten.
In 1974, I had the opportunity to meet Libby Komaiko. And I think after that meeting, she made me part of her dream. She shared with me what she wanted to do. And that I believe dreamers move society.
It was a whole new world for me. When I began Spanish dance, I was on a scholarship. I was still a teenager. I was on a scholarship with Jose Greco. I was probably the youngest one in the group at the time. And I didn't know the language. I didn't really know about the culture. And I was going from being a totally integrated American to another world, so it was an adventure. I was born into the artistic circle, and it was already well in motion before I even became conscious that I was part of this process. I remember always as a child thinking theatrically and directing little shows in the neighborhood. And I started studying ballet when I was 9 years old with Elisa Stigler at Chicago Musical College. I came to Northeastern Illinois University in 1974 to do a lecture concert on the dances of Spain, classical, folkloric, and flamenco.
I believe it was in the fall of 1980. I was teaching, was part of the faculty of the Spanish department of the University of Illinois at Chicago, and I was teaching a course on Spanish culture, and I saw somewhere advertised that there was going to be a performance, Ensemble Español, quite about it. So I took my class, and I wasn't expecting much at all. And I really got the surprise of my life when I discovered Libby Komaiko there with her company, and that she had there the dances from Valencia, Galicia, Andalusia, Castile, and she was dancing there the wedding of Luis Alonso and the castanets, and I just couldn't believe my eyes. I never have heard of this group, and I was absolutely enchanted.
Really, I'm very proud to Libby Komaiko because she's not Spanish, and to bring to this country my culture and how much interest and how she loved the flamenco. And this is the only company in the whole United States to present music from the different provinces of Spain, and flamenco come from Andalusia, my own town.
If there is such a thing as vibrations that hang in the air, they were here. And it was because of the dedication that the dancers feel for what they're doing, the honesty with which they were working, and the enormous commitment to the work itself that really permeated the air that impressed me from the very beginning.
I had no concept whatsoever of management or business for a company. I knew what I wanted to produce on the stage and what the dance and the music were about and the historical and sociological aspects that needed to come together. But then I went to the Illinois Arts Council for some help, asking questions, and to the lawyers for the creative arts, and that's really how it began. We just started out, and started with a small board of directors, and started meeting, and I just learned. It's called on-the-job training.
Libby, I have known for 23 years. What is remarkable about Libby is that when she started the Spanish company, there was really not very much contact with Spanish dance then, and not like now. So she when she started, that was one of the biggest challenges, to introduce Spanish culture, Spanish dance and music. And well, over the years, as I saw her walking this path, she has done incredible. She has done incredible. What she has accomplished and what she is continuing to do so is incredible.
As a foreigner, a non-born Spaniard, I had to dignify what I was doing by learning everything that I could. It had to be the total picture. And the actual proposal for the Ensemble Español could never really have been put on one page. It was basically to unite the Latino and Hispano-American communities with the culture of Spain, to show the cultural pluralism that is our art, and that art has no boundaries, and then to show the three styles of Spanish dance: classical, folklore, flamenco, and with a variety of music and a variety of programming. So it's the educational, the cultural, and the artistic, and those three things went together. In my actual first company, what was really the first company, which was semi-professional as they began and grew into professional status as they went, of those dancers, Vida Peral, who's been now a guest artist, has come back with us, who's gone her full circle, was in that very first company.
I started my dance career here at Northeastern Illinois University in 1976 with Libby Komaiko. At the time I was a student here, and I took a course of Spanish dance with her for 3 months, and she asked me then to rehearse with the company, to be an apprentice, and I did that for a year, and then one thing led to another. I stayed with the company and continued my studies, and I was with Libby for 8 years, at which time I was already a soloist. I had gone to Spain during the summer and studied there, and after 8 years I decided that I wanted to study in Madrid for 6 months. And what happened was, that was in 1984, I was so well prepared already from having guest artists come here during the years, Maria Alba, Victoria Corjan, Edo, who's here, still with us here this year, that I got work right away. So I did study continuously for 6 months there, and then I just took a leave of absence and I never came back.
It all started in 1978. I had just graduated from high school. My father had invited me to come out for that night. It was a father and daughter night. He invited me to come over to a concert here at Northeastern, and I had no idea what it was about. Well, the concert started. It was the Ensemble Español, my very first time I had ever seen them. Okay. I tell you, towards the end of the concert, I was on the edge of my seat, okay? And from that day on, I knew what I wanted to do, and it was Spanish dance. I wanted to be one of them up there.
I joined the company in '82. I was 14 I came in. There were a lot of adults, I remember. There are good dancers. I was terrified at first. I was the youngest. I was a little kid running around like, okay. But after about a year, it all just became like family. And the experience within the company has been very good. I always reflect back on it as I travel, as I fall into situations, into other companies. And I have a base of reference.
I started seeing her classes and what the company was about, and I took a class and I got hooked. I started out on scholarship, then I became immediately within the year an apprentice to the company, and even sooner than that, within the full year, I became a full company dancer. And there I was next to the principal dancers of the company, just dancing away, touring, and working with our children's community outreach programs.
It was the time of familiarizing the community with the university and about the dance program and the Ensemble Español. So the partnership of the community outreach and the artistic training has always been very strong. Our relationship with Northeastern Illinois University for all of these years has made this kind of total community outreach, this embracing of the community, on beginning through advanced level to professional, has made this a possibility because of their commitment to the arts and to excellence and to the community. And now in our 20th year, we have a particularly wonderful situation with a great deal of support, a very supportive president and administration who are very concerned about the arts and their role in education and in our society.
A company like Ensemble Español and all the remarkably talented individuals who make it up, there has been continuing strength with Professor Komaiko's involvement, but all the many generations of students and staff, faculty, have contributed enormously for enriching not only this community, but the larger Chicago community. I think it would be wonderfully interesting to find out how many students at some point had a chance to come to the concerts and the performances here over the many years, over these 20 years. That's a very exciting part of Northeastern's history, and it's also part of our future because it's something that we intend to continue actively to support.
I started as a student with great respect and admiration for my director, Libby Komaiko. It's because of her that I'm here. She's the one that's helped me, and she continues to help me and to help others, to encourage us to continue and to do our very best.
The training with Libby, it's really intense. I mean, you get trained as a dancer, you get trained as a teacher, you get trained as a choreographer, you get trained as a person. It has helped a lot. I mean, I have my own school and I do teach, and I always find myself going back through my head and saying, do I sound like Libby? It's a big commitment for the kids. No, most of the kids that we've worked with, the kids that I've worked with, came from the barrio. But the elements that they have to deal with just to get here, they're really hard, because they just don't get trained in dance. They get life education or something.
Like we're walking towards the bus stop, sometimes we're like jumping there because we're like trying to figure out the steps, or while we're waiting for the bus, we're just like, okay, everybody, what is it?
So it really, and same thing in dancing, applies to dancing, it's really what's inside your heart. And if you really want that, that's where, you know, you can accomplish anything, no matter what.
If you really want it, you'll do it.
You don't have to worry if somebody comes to you and smack you because you're wearing the wrong colors, you're in the wrong neighborhood.
This is like home.
Yeah, home away from home.
Every kid who walks in this door, who gets this scholarship, you can look in their eyes and you know they've got plans, they've got big dreams, and they've got big plans, like millions of other children who never get a chance. And maybe, just maybe, if out of these 16, if 2 of them become dancers in the Ensemble Español, if they go that far, if they come to the university, if they graduate, if they have this experience, maybe there'll be more. The truth is that 2 did grow from that all-city junior group from 1990 and are now professionals in the Ensemble Español. One of the young ladies is now graduating and going to be a teacher, 1 boy and 1 girl. There are several of them who still come take class. They all come and help us. Many are in the university. They have jobs. Some have gotten married. Some have children. But they keep coming back. And their families here, and they're bringing their kids to us. So it's the circle. It's the circle.
I see the ensemble as the grounds to bring people together. As a Hispanic woman, I believe that is a wonderful thing that has happened to us. She's doing it because she's really committed. She believes in what she's doing. And that Ensemble Español bring out of young people, out of our students, out of the community, the best we have.
The outreach programs are vital to our mission. The Tales of Spain, the multimedia concerts for the schools. As we go from one region to the next and one dance to the next, we show slides of different regions of Spain. We have them on a dissolve, so it's like the students are in a movie, and the dialogue of the history of where we're going, the dance, the costume, where it came from, the music, the composers, comes along with it, and then the students actually see the dance.
I just integrate what I've learned artistically with the Ensemble Español into the Chicago public school system, into their curriculum. We also have 2 other dancers in the company now who are also giving to the community as teachers, and 3 who are on their way into becoming professional teachers.
When I was in 7th grade, my school came to see a concert by Ensemble Español, and I loved it, and I decided I wanted to do it. And I came to talk to Libby, and I got some information about the workshops, and I started taking workshops on Tuesday nights. And then she told me about the audition for the juniors, and I auditioned, and I got the scholarship.
I've been practicing for a very long time, since I was about 7, because my brother's in this. But now that I'm a junior, it's different. I find that I have a lot more responsibility. It's different with Libby. She's very professional.
I felt like I was lucky. I was like, wow, they trust me enough to give me free shoes from Spain. Like, I was like $200 and all this free stuff. You know, I better take care of it. I better, make sure that I show my appreciation.
I feel, I don't know, it's just like, we're a family here. Like, Libby's our mom, and we all help each other. We all come together all the time. And when we have problems, we work it out.
I'm a shy person, and she's helped me overcome that through dance, and it's really, really motivating for me. And I'm planning to continue with the company and hopefully become a fashion designer. I'm at the Art Institute of Chicago, and sometimes I talk with Libby, and it's like, you know, we're just saying, you know, maybe I could design costumes for the company and stuff. So I'm just really glad to be here, and I really love Libby a lot.
This award is given to persons who have been doing an outstanding contribution to the dissemination of Spanish culture in the Western Hemisphere. It's a big luck for Spain.
To be recognized with an award, the highest one, artistic award, that is given, and is given by the King of Spain, that means a lot of recognition, and that the benefit to all of us in Northeastern, to Chicago, and to the United States of America, I think has to be said in the top of the mountain.
In 1987 was a very difficult year in my life. My mother died after many years of serious illness. Aside from being my mother and my friend, she was a wonderful pianist, and she had been the pianist for me and for the Ensemble Español for many years, until she couldn't play anymore. And she particularly was wonderful at playing the romantic music of Enrique Granados. And a piece that we did together that was my favorite to do with her was the Danza Oriental by Granados. And she played it in a way that it had such a delicate quality about it that I always felt that I was floating when I was dancing. So that was the year that my mother passed away, and 3 months later, Bobby Lorca, who was my dear friend, my dance partner, soulmate, also passed away. And I felt that I was losing my family, that I was losing my life. When I met him, actually people were saying for about 5 years before we actually began to work together, we had met before, but that we should meet, that we would be wonderful together. Artistically, as friends, we would really get along. And we both had commitments to other people, working with other people, and by the time we actually got together, it was later than we had hoped. But we became good friends and colleagues instantly. And at that time, I was working so much with the company when I first started working with Bobby, and I was really, my mother was already ill, and developing and directing and creating and teaching for a dance company, and being a professor in a university and doing outreach and doing lots of myriads of things. There were other things, sad things going on in my personal life, were very hard on me and drained my energy, and I really was losing my desire to perform. But when I met Bobby, he was the dancer's dancer, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. How could I not dance? Of course I have to dance. He was the inspiration the support, the constant friend, that he made me want to dance again. And I loved dancing with him, and I miss him terribly. But when he died, I didn't know what I was going to do. I really didn't want to dance anymore. I didn't want to have a company anymore. I didn't want to walk into the studio, into the university. I didn't want to be, actually.
Every concert we do is a highlight. The greatest ones, of course, are the festivals we do every summer, because we have guest artists coming in from Spain. We have workshops, classes all day long. It's 2 weeks of heaven. Another highlight is the traveling. Our trip to Mexico, to Puerto Rico, God willing, who knows where else. Every show that we do is a highlight. That to me is everything.
The group that I have now in this 20th year is wonderful. They're just wonderful people. They love their art. They're highly professional. Most of them, all of them, have grown up in the Ensemble Español, and they are giving back to the communities. They've either grown up through the juniors and they're already professional dancers and graduating, or they've grown up in the scholarship apprenticeship program and they're teaching in the public schools and bringing their schools to us. It's going around and around, and they're committed to their art, they're committed to the communities, they're committed to the culture, and they dance beautifully.
Flamenco, in a way, can be very sacred and very almost spiritual, and have this very depth, the inner richness of the person comes out. But it also can be very popular. It can be very, a little bit vulgar. It depends, and you never see this danger ever appear in whatever Libby touches. You always see the art first, and the purity of the art.
I have had the great fortune of working with wonderful dance partners and many guest artists who've been here and contributed. I love to choreograph, and when I create something on the dancers, that is also a great joy. My work with Juan Ramon and Irma Suárez have been a great highlight for me. I've created several pieces for them, and I've loved doing it. I loved setting choreographies on the company. So all the dancers who are with us, when I'm working with them and I see the light bulbs go off and I see them totally immersed, completely involved, that's a joy.
Years ago, I know Libby. When Libby made the company and for the first time in Chicago, Ensemble Español, bring me to me 18 years ago for teaching, make costumes and doing choreography. For me, it's the best in the United States. But in this moment, some big company here in Chicago had to Livio or sponsor, 2 or 3 sponsors. I think so. It's fabulous. But the company now is beautiful, beautiful.
My first contact with Libby was in '68 with the Jose Greco Touring Company. Ensemble Español is one of the best companies that they have here in the United States. I think what they're doing here, I don't think we've really understood the help that they are giving to Spain. So I think that Chicago should really be proud of of what they have, you know, besides a good basketball team, a good flamenco company. Take that into consideration.
to Northeastern as a guest artist is really an honor, of course, first, but I think for myself personally, I feel like I've completed the circle.
Libby's doing is giving them the, not only externally, the sense of their own identity rooted in a rich, fantastic culture, but they are not receiving it from the outside, they are learning it, they are living it, and they are themselves this culture. I think this is absolutely fantastic. No wonder that Libby got this distinction from the King of Spain.
Now that we're at the 20-year point, all the pioneering years, all of the hardships, all the struggle is behind us. New struggles will happen, but we're familiar with the possibilities. We have history, we have a legacy behind us. And I have several projects that I've been trying to develop for many years, which I hope when we start our third decade will be part of those seasons, because I have bigger ideas, not bigger budget to produce them. We're still working on an envelope there, but bigger ideas. It's all very creative and inspiring. And is there more?